At 70 years old, 80% of men face erectile dysfunction, but only 30% seek help, choosing instead to suffer in silence while relationships disintegrate and quality of life plummets. Are you among those who've accepted this sentence as inevitable? Do you feel like your best years are behind you? That the vitality, confidence, and intimate connection with your partner are things of the past? Today, I'm going to destroy that belief. In the next few minutes, you'll discover the exact 7 steps, validated by 3 decades of clinical practice and thousands of real cases, that transformed men over 60 who were resigned into vibrant, confident, and fully functional men. This isn't just another generic video about aging. It's a complete protocol, step by step, that goes from proper medical evaluation to rebuilding intimacy in your relationship. You'll understand why your erectile dysfunction might actually be saving your life by revealing hidden cardiovascular problems, how to optimize your hormones naturally, which foods and exercises actually work, and, most importantly, how to break the cycle of shame and isolation that destroys more lives than the physical problem itself. If you watch until the end and apply these 7 steps, you won't just recover your sexual function. You'll reclaim your vitality, purpose, and the deep connection you deserve to experience. I'm Dr. Charles Bennett, retired urologist with 3 decades focused exclusively on masculine vitality in mature men. I've sat across from thousands of heralds, veterans, engineers, farmers, fathers, men who built this country with their hands and hearts, now wondering if their best years are permanently behind them. Let me be direct. Erectile dysfunction after 60 isn't just about intimacy. It's a window into your cardiovascular system, your hormone balance, your metabolic health, and yes, your emotional well-being. When blood stops flowing properly to one area, it's often failing elsewhere too. Your heart, your brain, your legs. The numbers are staggering. Studies from Johns Hopkins show that 65% of men over 70 experience some degree of erectile difficulty. By age 80, that climbs to nearly 80%. But here's what the statistics don't capture: the shame that keeps men from seeking help, the isolation that deepens when they withdraw from partners, the loss of purpose that follows. Today, I'm breaking down the exact 7-step protocol that transformed Harold's life and has helped thousands of men reclaim their vitality, confidence, and purpose. These aren't abstract theories. They're concrete actions you can start today. And by the end of this video, you'll have a complete roadmap from where you are now to where you deserve to be. Step 1. The complete checkup. Face the truth head-on. This is where everything begins. And it's where most men fail before they even start. The statistics are heartbreaking. Only 30% of men with ED ever seek medical help. 70% suffer in silence, let relationships deteriorate, watch their quality of life diminish, and resign themselves to a half-lived existence. Why? Embarrassment, fear of judgment, misguided belief that nothing can be done, cultural messaging that says real men don't ask for help. Every single one of those reasons is understandable, and every single one is wrong. Here's what you need to do immediately. Schedule a complete physical examination with your primary care physician. Not next month. Not when it's more convenient. This week. Be completely honest about what you're experiencing. The fatigue, the reduced interest, the physical changes, everything. Your doctor needs the full picture because erectile dysfunction rarely exists in isolation. It's almost always connected to larger health patterns that need addressing. During this appointment, discuss your complete medical history, including current medications, because dozens of common prescriptions cause sexual side effects. Blood pressure medications, antidepressants, antihistamines, and acid reflux drugs are frequent culprits. Sometimes a simple medication adjustment solves everything. Lifestyle factors, your sleep quality, stress levels, alcohol consumption, smoking history, and exercise routine all directly impact sexual function. Your doctor needs this information to create an effective plan. Relationship dynamics. Because physical issues often intertwine with emotional ones. If communication has broken down with your partner, that needs addressing too. Mental health, depression, and anxiety don't just affect your mood. They fundamentally alter brain chemistry in ways that make arousal difficult or impossible. The goal of this first step isn't treatment yet. It's gathering information, understanding the landscape, identifying which of the 7 steps will matter most for your specific situation. Robert Chen, who served 26 years in the Air Force, told me that making this first appointment was harder than any combat situation he'd faced. The vulnerability felt overwhelming. But once he walked into that office and spoke his truth, everything changed. Because silence is the real enemy. Not age, not physical changes. Silence. Step 2. The essential tests. Discover what your body is telling you. Once you've had that initial conversation, the next step is comprehensive laboratory testing. This is where we move from guessing to knowing. Your physician should order a complete metabolic panel that includes testosterone levels, both total and free testosterone. This is non-negotiable. Normal range sits between 300 and 1,000 DL, but optimal function typically requires levels above 450. Below that threshold, you're likely experiencing fatigue, reduced muscle mass, mood changes, and sexual difficulties. Testing should happen in the morning, as testosterone levels fluctuate throughout the day and are highest between 7 and 10 a.m. A single low reading isn't always definitive, so sometimes repeat testing is necessary. Lipid panel, measuring total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. Cardiovascular health and sexual function are inseparably linked. The same plaque that blocks arteries to your heart also blocks smaller vessels throughout your body, including those critical for erections. Dr. Stephen Morrison at Cleveland Clinic published research showing that men with ED have a 45% higher risk of cardiovascular disease and a 62% increased risk of heart attack. This isn't just about bedroom performance. It's about survival. Hemoglobin A1C. This measures average blood sugar over 3 months and screens for diabetes or prediabetes. Elevated blood sugar damages nerves and blood vessels, directly impairing erectile function. Nearly half of men with diabetes experience ED. Thyroid function. TSH and free T4 levels matter because thyroid disorders affect metabolism, energy, and sexual desire. Both hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism can cause erectile difficulties. Complete blood count, checking for anemia or other blood disorders that might contribute to fatigue and reduced physical capacity. Prostate-specific antigen if you're discussing testosterone replacement, as monitoring prostate health becomes essential during hormone therapy. Harold's case was textbook. When we ran his blood work, his LDL cholesterol sat at 180, his blood pressure was 150/95, and his A1C indicated prediabetes. His testosterone had dropped to 280 DL, well below optimal range. No wonder nothing was working. But here's where the story changes. Once Harold understood that his body wasn't betraying him, but communicating with him, everything shifted. We had data. We had targets. We had a plan. These laboratory results create your baseline. They show exactly where intervention is needed, and allow you to track progress objectively as you move through the remaining steps. Some men discover their issue is purely hormonal. Others find cardiovascular disease. Many uncover multiple factors working together, but you can't address what you don't measure. Step 3. Cardiovascular protection. Save your heart, save your manhood. This is the foundation everything else builds upon. Because here's a truth that cannot be overstated. What's good for your heart is good for your sexual function. Period. Erectile function depends entirely on blood flow. When arousal occurs, your brain sends signals through your nervous system that trigger blood vessels in the penis to relax and expand. Blood rushes in, fills the tissue, and creates rigidity. Simple mechanics, complex chemistry. For this process to work, you need healthy, flexible blood vessels free from plaque buildup. You need adequate blood pressure, not too high, not too low. You need your heart pumping efficiently. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of erectile dysfunction in men over 60. In fact, ED often appears 3 to 5 years before a cardiac event. Your body's warning you, so protecting your cardiovascular system isn't optional. It's the single most important step you can take. Here's your cardiovascular protection protocol. Blood pressure management. Ideal readings sit below 120/80. Anything consistently above 130/80 requires intervention through medication, lifestyle changes, or both. Work closely with your doctor to find blood pressure medications that don't cause sexual side effects. ACE inhibitors and ARBs are generally better choices than older beta blockers. Cholesterol optimization. Target LDL below 100, HDL above 40, and triglycerides under 150. This often requires statins, which are safe and effective when monitored properly. Some men worry statins cause ED, but research shows the opposite. Improving cholesterol actually enhances sexual function. Aspirin therapy. Low-dose aspirin improves blood flow and reduces clotting risk. Many cardiologists recommend 81 milliliters daily for men over 60 with cardiovascular risk factors. Discuss this with your physician. Stop smoking immediately. Tobacco constricts blood vessels, damages their lining, and dramatically increases ED risk. Within months of quitting, vascular function begins improving. This is non-negotiable. Limit alcohol. While moderate consumption may not harm sexual function, heavy drinking absolutely does. Keep it to 1 or 2 drinks maximum per day. Regular monitoring. Once you've started interventions, schedule follow-up appointments every 3 months initially to ensure your numbers are moving in the right direction. Robert Chen's cardiovascular system was compromised by years of stress, poor diet, and untreated high blood pressure. We addressed these systematically, and within months, his energy returned. His mental clarity improved, and yes, sexual function began recovering. Step 4. Nutrition and movement. Fuel and train your body for vitality. Your body is a machine that requires proper fuel and regular use. Neglect either, and everything breaks down. Honor both, and remarkable recovery becomes possible. Let's start with nutrition. Studies published in the Journal of American Medical Association show that diet quality directly correlates with erectile function. Men following Mediterranean eating patterns, rich in vegetables, fish, olive oil, nuts, and whole grains, show 40% improvement compared to those eating standard American diets. Here's your nutritional blueprint. Prioritize vegetables. Aim for 7 to 9 servings daily. Dark leafy greens like spinach and kale are rich in nitrates that improve blood flow. Beets have the same effect. Load your plate. Choose quality proteins. Wild-caught fish 3 times weekly provides omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation and improve vascular health. Lean poultry, eggs, and moderate amounts of grass-fed beef supply the amino acids needed for testosterone production. Embrace healthy fats. Olive oil, avocados, nuts, and seeds support hormone production and reduce inflammation. Your body needs fat to make testosterone. Don't fear it. Eliminate processed foods, packaged snacks, fast food, and anything with ingredient lists you can't pronounce. These items spike blood sugar, promote inflammation, and damage blood vessels. Reduce sugar aggressively. Excess sugar leads to insulin resistance, weight gain, and vascular damage. Limit added sugars to less than 25 grams daily. Stay hydrated. Proper hydration improves blood volume and circulation. Aim for 8 to 10 glasses of water daily. Now, movement. Research from the University of Athens found that men over 60 who maintain regular aerobic exercise reduce ED risk by 40%. Blood flow improves. Blood pressure drops. Vessel flexibility increases. Your exercise prescription: aerobic activity. 30 minutes of brisk walking, cycling, or swimming at least 5 days weekly. This is non-negotiable for cardiovascular health. Start slow if needed, but start. Resistance training. Lift weights or use resistance bands 3 times weekly. Building muscle mass naturally boosts testosterone production and improves metabolic health. Focus on compound movements: squats, deadlifts, presses, rows, pelvic floor exercises. Yes, Kegel exercises work for men. Strengthening the muscles that control erection and ejaculation improves function. Contract for 5 seconds, release for 5 seconds. Repeat 20 times, 3 sets daily. Flexibility work. Yoga or stretching reduces stress, improves circulation, and enhances body awareness. Even 15 minutes daily makes a difference. Consistent sleep, 7 to 8 hours nightly, allows testosterone production to peak and your body to recover. Sleep deprivation crushes hormone levels. Harold started walking every morning after his diagnosis. Within weeks, he felt stronger. His mood lifted. His blood pressure dropped. Combined with dietary changes, he lost 18 pounds in 4 months. The physical transformation was remarkable, but the mental shift was even more powerful. Step 5. Hormonal optimization. Restore the fuel of masculinity. Testosterone is not everything, but it's not nothing either. This hormone drives energy, muscle maintenance, bone density, cognitive function, mood stability, and yes, sexual desire and performance. When levels drop significantly, quality of life suffers across every dimension. The challenge is that testosterone naturally declines about 1% annually after age 30. By 70, many men sit well below optimal range. Some accept this as inevitable aging. Others recognize it as a treatable medical condition. If your blood work showed testosterone below 400 dl and you're experiencing symptoms, fatigue, depression, loss of muscle, reduced libido, erectile difficulty, replacement therapy deserves serious consideration. Here's what you need to know. Testosterone replacement comes in several forms. Injections, typically administered weekly or biweekly. Most cost-effective option with stable blood levels when dosed properly. Requires comfort with needles. Topical gels applied daily to shoulders or upper arms. Convenient, but requires careful application to avoid transferring to partners or children. More expensive than injections. Patches, worn on skin and changed daily. Similar benefits to gels with less transfer risk, but can cause skin irritation. Pellets, implanted under skin every 3 to 4 months. Provides steady hormone release, but requires minor surgical procedure. All methods work when properly dosed and monitored. The key is finding an experienced physician who will check blood levels regularly, initially every 6 weeks, then quarterly once stable. We're aiming for testosterone between 500 and 800 mg/dL. Monitor prostate health, PSA testing, and digital rectal exams remain important because testosterone can stimulate prostate growth. We're not creating cancer, but we need to watch carefully. Watch for side effects. Potential issues include increased red blood cell production, fluid retention, acne, or mood changes. Most are manageable with dose adjustments. Assess response. Improvements in energy, mood, muscle mass, and sexual function should appear within 3 to 6 months. If not, something else is wrong. Some men respond beautifully to lifestyle changes alone. Weight loss, resistance training, stress reduction, and sleep improvement can naturally boost testosterone production by 20 to 30%. Try this first if your levels are borderline. Others need pharmaceutical support. There's no shame in that. You wouldn't refuse insulin if you were diabetic. Testosterone deficiency is equally legitimate. Harold's testosterone sat at 280 UNDL. We started weekly injections, monitoring closely. Within 2 months, he felt dramatically different. Fog lifted, energy returned, muscle tone improved, and sexual function began recovering. Step 6. Direct medical solutions, tools that work when you need them. Even with perfect cardiovascular health, optimal testosterone, excellent nutrition, and regular exercise, some men still need direct medical intervention for erectile function. And that's completely okay. Modern medicine offers remarkably effective solutions. Oral medications, PDE5 inhibitors, including sildenafil, tadalafil, and vardenafil, work by improving blood flow to the penis. They don't create arousal. They simply allow your body to respond when arousal occurs naturally. These medications are remarkably effective with response rates around 70% in men over 60. They work best when taken on an empty stomach 1 hour before activity, though tadalafil can be taken daily at lower doses for continuous readiness. Side effects are generally mild: headache, flushing, nasal congestion. Rarely, vision changes occur. They're contraindicated with nitrate medications, so full disclosure to your physician is essential. Cost has dropped significantly with generic options. Most insurance plans cover them. If not, discount programs make them affordable. Vacuum erection devices. These mechanical pumps create negative pressure that draws blood into the penis. Then a constriction ring maintains the erection. Success rates exceed 75%. Many men dismiss these as archaic, but modern devices are discreet, effective, and have no systemic side effects. They're excellent options for men who can't take oral medications. Intraurethral suppositories, alprostadil pellets inserted into the urethra dissolve and improve blood flow. Less invasive than injections, but less reliable. Success rates around 40%. Penile injections, alprostadil, papaverine, or combination medications injected directly into the penis produce reliable erections within minutes. This sounds terrifying but becomes routine quickly. Success rates exceed 80%. The needle is tiny. The injection is shallow. Most men experience minimal discomfort, and the reliability is unmatched. For men who haven't responded to pills, this is often the solution. Penile implants. For cases where nothing else works, surgical implants offer a permanent solution. Modern devices are sophisticated, with inflatable options that appear and function naturally. Satisfaction rates exceed 90% among both men and partners. This isn't a desperate last resort. It's a legitimate medical intervention that restores function and quality of life for thousands of men annually. The key is working with a urologist experienced in sexual medicine who can guide you through options systematically, starting with least invasive and progressing as needed. Robert's recovery involved oral medication initially. When response was partial, we added injection therapy. The combination transformed his confidence and relationship. 6 months later, he told me he felt more capable and connected than he had in a decade. Step 7. Mind and relationship. Heal the invisible, strengthen the connection. This final step might be the most important of all. Because erectile dysfunction isn't purely physical or purely mental, it's an intricate dance between both. Dr. Michael Patterson at Stanford Medical Center conducted extensive research on the psychological impact of ED in older men. His findings are sobering. 70% of men with ED report symptoms of depression, 45% experience significant anxiety, and nearly 30% withdraw from social relationships entirely. The shame creates a vicious cycle. Physical difficulty leads to performance anxiety. Anxiety triggers stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline that constrict blood vessels, making the physical problem worse. That failure reinforces the emotional distress. Round and round it goes. Breaking this cycle requires addressing both mind and relationship. Individual therapy, working with a counselor experienced in sexual health, helps untangle the psychological knots that compound physical problems. Many men discover that addressing underlying depression, anxiety, or trauma creates space for physical healing to occur. Cognitive behavioral therapy is particularly effective for performance anxiety. You learn to identify negative thought patterns and replace them with realistic, constructive ones. Couples counseling, because this isn't just your problem. It affects your relationship. Your partner has feelings, fears, and needs too. Communication is everything. The silence and distance that builds when men withdraw creates more damage than the original physical issue. Opening honest dialogue about desires, fears, and expectations transforms relationships. Many couples discover that forced conversations about intimacy lead to deeper connection than they'd experienced in decades, because they're finally being real with each other. Redefining intimacy. Here's something that doesn't get discussed enough. Sexuality in later years can actually become more meaningful, more connected, more satisfying than it was in youth. Research from the University of Chicago's National Social Life, Health, and Aging Project found that emotional satisfaction in sexual relationships often increases with age, even as frequency decreases. Quality replaces quantity. Presence replaces urgency. Connection replaces conquest. This requires a shift in mindset. You're not trying to recapture your 25-year-old self. You're discovering what your 70-year-old self can create with decades of experience, patience, and depth that young men simply don't possess. This might mean longer foreplay, different positions, more emphasis on emotional connection and sensuality, use of aids without shame, open communication about needs and desires. All of this becomes not just acceptable, but enriching. Harold and Sarah discovered this evolution naturally. Once the physical obstacles were addressed, they began talking honestly for the first time in years about what actually felt good, what they wanted, what mattered most. Their intimacy deepened beyond anything they'd experienced in 50 years of marriage. Stress management. Chronic stress is toxic to sexual function. Elevated cortisol suppresses testosterone, constricts blood vessels, and kills desire. Finding healthy outlets becomes essential. This might be meditation, prayer, hobbies, time in nature, or creative pursuits. Whatever helps you decompress and reconnect with yourself. Robert described his ED as drowning on dry land. Every interaction with his wife, Linda, felt loaded with expectation he couldn't meet. Sleep became difficult, appetite faded. The isolation was crushing. His breakthrough came when he finally admitted everything to Linda. The fear, the shame, the sense of failure. Her response? Relief. Not disappointment. Relief. Because she thought she'd done something wrong. Communication opened possibilities they didn't know existed. Combined with therapy and medical treatment, their relationship strengthened tremendously. These 7 steps aren't theoretical. They're the exact protocol that's transformed thousands of lives. But they only work if you actually take action. Here's your immediate action plan. This week, schedule a complete physical with your doctor. Be completely honest about everything you're experiencing. Request comprehensive blood work, including testosterone, cholesterol, blood sugar, and thyroid function. Get your blood pressure checked properly. Start walking 30 minutes daily. No excuses. Put it on your calendar like any important appointment. Clean out your pantry. Remove processed foods and sugary items. Stock up on vegetables, fish, olive oil, nuts. Have an honest conversation with your partner if you have one. Break the silence that's been building. If cardiovascular issues emerge from testing, take them seriously. This isn't just about sexual function anymore. It's about preventing heart attacks and strokes. If testosterone is low, discuss replacement therapy options with a specialist who understands male hormone optimization. If psychological factors are involved, find a therapist. Mental health is health, period. If oral medications might help, ask your doctor about trying them. There's no shame in using tools that work. Most importantly, understand that your worth as a man isn't located between your legs. It never was. It's in the sacrifices you made, the people you loved, the work you contributed, the character you built over decades of living with integrity. The biological changes happening in your body don't erase any of that. You're not becoming less masculine. You're simply navigating a new chapter that requires different wisdom. Your life isn't over. Your capacity for pleasure, connection, and vitality isn't extinguished. It's just waiting for you to stop accepting less than you deserve and start fighting for the life you want. Because aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means evolving. And evolution requires courage to let go of who you were and embrace who you're becoming. You are still whole. You are still valuable. You are still capable of living fully. But only if you choose action over resignation. Harold sent me a message last month. He and Sarah just celebrated their 52nd anniversary with a trip to Hawaii they'd postponed for years. His exact words, "I'm not the man I was at 30. I'm better. Because now I actually understand what matters." That's what's possible when you commit to these 7 steps. Not a return to youth. Something deeper. Wisdom. Purpose. Vitality on your own terms. But it starts with you making the decision that your life still matters. That you're worth the effort. That the best chapters might still be ahead. So make that choice. Today. Right now. Take the first step. Your future self is waiting. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below. Share which of these 7 steps you're committing to first. Or simply write, "I'm starting today," so other men know they're not alone in this journey. Community matters. Your story matters. You matter. This video is educational content based on solid medical science and real clinical experience. But it doesn't replace actual medical consultation. Your situation is unique. You need personalized care from qualified professionals who can examine you, run proper tests, and create treatment plans specific to your needs. Take care of yourself. Not because you have to, because you're worth it.